Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Stevens, and welcome to this short-term rentals webinar on distribution downstream, turning your billboard into a flywheel, sponsored by Track, a TravelNet solution. So you've just been watching a preview video to our annual Shorties Awards. Our entries period remains open until tomorrow evening. That's Wednesday, the 13th of March at 23:59 GMT. So get your submissions in now at the link to our awards platform, which I believe is in the chat now. I'm the editor of Short-Term Rentals here at International Hospitality Media, and I'm the host for today's session. And before we begin, let's introduce our session sponsor, Track. We've just got a short video here to play for you. And we've got a second video as well, which is featuring Patrick Power, Senior Director of Product Strategy at TravelNet Solutions. We'll meet him very shortly, but here he is virtually anyway on a video.
There's a lot of ways that you can configure any software. And as much as there might not be a wrong way, there may be a better way. And the more time that you spend up front, the better result that you're going to have on the back end. The more that we know about you, the better service that you're going to get, the better solution that you're going to get. So don't just sit back. This is an active relationship. We are a service provider as well as a software provider that we can make sure that we can have a really long and prosperous relationship together.
So thank you to Track for sponsoring today's session, and we're all the more delighted to be hosting this webinar with Track at the beginning of Vacation Rental Week, lasting from the 11th to the 15th of March. So let's introduce our speaker lineup for today. Now, Patrick, you're on my screen, and we've literally just seen you, so I might as well start with you. Please introduce yourself.
Welcome, everybody. Patrick Power, Senior Director of Product Strategy over the Track and Track e-commerce brands, which is our website offering products. So learn a lot about distribution, learn a lot from our customers, and excited to meet with our panelists here and talk more about making you a flywheel.
Thank you, Patrick. And next up, going from left to right, we'll bring in Kate, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kate Berge. I'm a Senior Account Manager Team Lead with the Track Digital Marketing, Direct Bookings, and E-commerce Department. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Kate. And next up, we've got Austin, please.
Hey, everybody. My name is Austin Ford. I'm the Lead Senior Revenue Manager for the Revenue Management Team at Track.
Fantastic. Thank you, Austin. Next, we have Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. Cheryl Floyd. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Track. I work with folks like Patrick and our other product managers to bring our products to life. I hope Patrick doesn't kill me for submitting that video. I'm introducing him today.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. And yes, let's hope it doesn't come to that. And last but by no means least, we've got Jason, please.
Hi, everyone. Jason Mearsman over here in Ocean Shores, Washington, owner-operator of Oyhead Bay Seaside Village, which is a developing resort community that's walkable out here on the Washington coast.
Fantastic, Jason, and fantastic to have all of you today as our expert panel. We'll speak to you all very shortly. We've got a couple of slides just to quickly run through before we get into the meat of today's discussion. Starting with a couple of webinar guidelines. So all of the details that you see are going to be posted in the chat. So please do go there and post any questions you have there for any of our panelists today. We're going to have a panel discussion leading into some audience questions, and then a recording will be sent out to everyone within the next 48 hours. In terms of background to today's session, we've covered Track a number of times on shorttermrentals.com before, starting with TravelNet's investment from Blue Star Innovation Partners in July 2022 to its acquisition of revenue management partner Rented later that November. I know we've got some representatives from that Rented deal on the panel today. Furthermore, we interviewed TravelNet Solutions CEO Ryan Bailey at last October's VRMA International in Orlando, where we discussed everything from the company's additions to its tech and distribution system, growth strategy and challenges and opportunities in the market. And then most recently as well, Track was also featured in the prestigious list of Airbnb preferred software partners for 2024 last month. So a couple of things that we're going to run through and talk about today. We really want to have an open forum conversation. We're going to be hearing from everyone shortly. An organically flowing conversation that will enable us to explore all aspects from distribution optimization to growth and diversification, and really ensuring that all property managers tuning in today can thrive in this ever-changing short-term rental climate. I'm going to turn first to Jason, please. And you're a property manager and you're using Track. Your company is Oyhut Bay Seaside Village Co. Could you just let us into a few details, talk us through your portfolio and the business before we get into the real discussion?
Yeah, sure. So Oyhut Bay, we are as I said, a developing resort community. So the unique strategy there is that all of our properties are on one larger resort community property. About 95% of what we build out here is nightly rented and will be. And our build plan basically is about the next 8 to 10 years to complete the project. When all is said and done, we'll have somewhere between 200 and 225 nightly rental units on the property. That includes, kind of a wide range of different sizes and styles, and condos all the way up through 5-bedroom single family residence homes. We've also got on-site retail amenities, restaurants, wine bar. We've got an event venue for weddings and retreats and things of that nature. And the goal is to just really kind of create a market within this tourist market that we're in for ourselves. So sometimes we end up, when we think about what's going on in the nightly rental market as a whole, we're fighting against, factors that are going on at a larger scale, and then also with our own community. So there's lots of different considerations that go into everything that we do on a day-to-day basis.
So you've got a portfolio, I believe you said, around 70 rentals in your portfolio, and you're typically adding maybe about 15 per year as well. Could you just let us into perhaps some of the unique challenges that you're facing as a property manager at the moment?
Sure. Yeah. So saturation in the market is definitely one of the larger challenges. Trying to get new eyes on our property, but also out here to this specific town on the coast. So saturation within the larger market, also within our own community, as I had said, that's kind of a unique challenge. Making sure that we're achieving revenue targets for our owners and that they are satisfied with the return that they're getting. It's been an interesting 12-month cycle for tourism out here on the Washington coast. So, we saw some slowing travel trends last year, and trying to navigate those waters as we're continuing to grow our community. There's a significant lack of geographic focused marketing by our local city and our county. So doing what we can do as a community and as a property manager to market our units ahead of others. All of those kind of are things that keep me up at night, so to speak.
And maybe some of these supply and demand challenges as well. Is this something that is specific to your market, do you believe, or something that you're seeing more nationwide as well?
I believe it's nationwide. I don't think, we're unique in that respect. I know that there's been, a significant uptick in the number of units available in the market, and So differentiation, of our portfolio is kind of the #1 priority. And yeah, again, I don't think that that's unique to us or to Ocean Shores or to the Washington Coast or Oyster Bay Seaside Village by any means.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jason. Well, we'll delve into more about whether that's something that we're seeing more nationally as well, and
Sure.
interested to get the perspectives of the track team now. So I'm going to turn to Austin first, really talking about the pricing element to it as well. And Austin, just give us a sense of how pricing really is a game changer for you at Track.
Yeah, I mean, pricing is huge for us. I mean, it's a difference maker for a lot of our clients as far as whether or not they are able to be competitive within their respective markets. The dynamic pricing is something that has taken over the vacation rental industry within the last few years, and the changes that have been made to those dynamic pricing strategies have really helped us capitalize on gaining additional revenue for all of our customers. We've kind of seen this market shift away from the traditional perspective of pricing, and now it's so data driven. All the models that are created, the algorithms that are designed to help keep up with this pricing to where it doesn't stay stagnant, where it's constantly changing. And that's huge for us, knowing when do we need to change, what factors into those pricing changes. We, like I said, mentioned earlier about the data. Are there events that's going on that has caused a spike in it, and making sure that we are reacting quick enough to make sure that we're not leaving any revenue on the table.
Mm-hmm. And how specifically within that are you using data to tweak prices, maybe based on events or seasons, and also maybe what your competitors are up to?
I think the data that we use, I mean, it factors into nearly every decision that we do make. The wonderful thing with the track revenue is that you do have that dynamic pricing platform, that software that allows you to make these changes. But we constantly are preaching to our customers that you need to have that human intervention as well, because there are things that we can see that maybe the algorithm may not see quick enough. We are able to look at market reports, and we see a spike in occupancy for a particular date. We know that, hey, we need to go in and we need to change this, that way the customer doesn't lose anything. We look at what events are going on in the area, whether it's a big event, a small event, whether it's a sporting event, a concert. Every market's different, and every market has different events that results in them seeing a spike in growth. But just overall, the data that we look at influences our pricing decisions every day. So.
And I'll probably use this to chime in your colleagues as well. But how does I'll ask you first, Austin. But how is sort of the idea of like slick marketing? How is that sort of crucial in feeding into your pricing and revenue management strategy moving forward?
Oh, it's very crucial. I mean, we have always, and at least in my team, we have always tried to inform our customers that revenue management is just half of the game. You can make pricing changes all you want, but without that marketing aspect, you're just hurting yourself. And marketing ties so directly into the revenue management aspect. They're so correlated with each other that from a revenue manager standpoint, we depend on that marketing to help us be successful. Because without it, we're just hoping that the right customer comes along, hoping that the right customer is looking at our properties that are available. But with that marketing aspect to assist us, then we know that the changes that we make from a pricing standpoint are justified, because we are able to reach that that customer that we know is the one that we want to book our properties.
And is that something that your colleagues in marketing would concur with as well? I don't know if someone wants to chime in on that.
That's a really good point. A lot of what we talk about in my everyday, I talk to digital marketing strategy clients from coast to coast and even some in Europe as well. But when it comes to promotions, when it comes to paid strategies, any type of marketing strategies, we're asking those very same things that Austin just went through. What's going on in the area? Are we, hey, something is going on this weekend. Do we need to be pushing it, a couple months in advance? What are things to do in your area? What's going to draw people in for, any length of time where it could affect the overall occupancy? In the terms of Jason's market, there's a good portion of people that come out specifically for razor clamming or, whatever it may be. So how soon in advance we want to start talking to your users about that or your potential guests about that, snagging their interests right away, and then keeping them in the loop and creating brand loyalty. And ultimately, that's the goal, is the direct booking.
Thank you.
Love how Kate really outlined those big marketing waves that we need to all think about, well in advance. There's also specific areas where you can go into specific, to her point, the events happening in your area. Are you making sure your headlines say, we are close to so-and-so event? Are you making sure that your amenities line up to the things that are really conducive to what they want to do in that area? All those things can be super specific and honed in for those targeted people that are looking for that specific event, that specific amenity, that experience that they want in their vacation.
Mm-hmm. And I think Jason's got a great setup for that too at his own property, with people wanting to go to the beach, or, how that plays into the amenities that you offer on property. So that also tailors very well or lends itself for marketing.
Jason, is that a point that you want to come in on there?
Yeah, I was just thinking we spend a lot of time and effort looking at what our local market events are, and we use that to kind of start our marketing efforts for the upcoming months, and then we'll start pushing those out to previous guests and to upcoming guests, and just get some excitement going. And sometimes we have a lot of time, and other times we don't have any time. So it kind of tailors how we approach that marketing effort. But we do cross-reference all those events against our pricing strategy and our software, and we look to make sure that the algorithm has in fact picked up what we would expect to see on our pricing across our portfolio. And so there's some strategy there. There's definitely not a set it and forget it model. It's definitely a actively managed pricing strategy.
Definitely, that's the life of a property manager for you. But that aligns, rolls on quite nicely to the next point, and really that idea of the relationship and the communication with owners. So Cheryl, I'll probably come into you first here, as you're sort of in the marketing and distribution side of things. How do you keep owners and your users in the loop with the updates that are happening at Track?
No, we are trying to tackle many channels at once, no pun intended, but we do, talk with not only our distribution partners that we are integrated with, to keep on track with what is happening in their specific integration with Track, but also, passing those on to our customers like Jason. Like, did you know that Bravo, for instance, just announced a specific algorithm that they're changing with their photos, and helping them keep up to date on things that are happening with with their distribution strategies, as Kate does with different marketing strategies happening. Email is always the way to go, but we have a really great system of keeping things up to date in the product. We do a lot of banner announcements and things that we do to keep people informed. just across the board, just depending on where they are in our product life cycle. And I think, clearly the marketing efforts that we do at events, like we're going out on the road this year to really touch base with our customers in person and just keep tabs on how they are doing in the market and what can we do to listen more closely. I think Patrick might have a good insight as to how we take that feedback and get more of that feedback into our product.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Patrick.
absolutely, Cheryl. It's product has a unique seat where we have internal stakeholders, like Austin and Kate and Cheryl, and we also have external stakeholders, like Jason on the call here, and we're constantly an ingest of data, right? And that's really how we make our decisions here at TravelNet and Track. But what we're starting to see, the US is in this interesting thing where 2024 could replace 2019 with our base market data. We're now past COVID. It seems weird that we're still saying the word COVID, but we're finally past and hopefully having a somewhat normal year. But also when we look at macroeconomics of the world, not just of the US, I know we have some international people. And then we're going to combo that with an election year, right? The election years in the US not only affect US travel, but US travelers internationally. So I know everybody kind of keeps their eyes on the US as far as what's going to be happening this November. And what we're seeing in meeting with a lot of property managers is price consciousness is always going to be there, but it's at a heightened awareness right now. And the want for a deal, right? So where Austin's seat kind of comes in uniquely is he's setting a base price, but then comboing that with promotions, right? When you look at the Gatlinburg market, where you start to see is like you may have to increase your base rate higher than you normally would because you want to offer a buy 5 get 2 special. And that's one of the biggest things that we're starting to see post-COVID is people are more price conscious in a way of wanting to get a deal, right? So whether or not you're going to manage the top line revenue and not offer deals or potentially overprice the market, but then apply, an automatic discount or something like that, is becoming more prevalent. Something that we've seen for years and years in the hotel industry is now migrating into the vacation rental and short-term rental space. And that's offering us a lot of opportunity to look across the fence at hotels in resorts and say, how have you priced for so many years? And is there now a reason to say like there's a lower price point for a non-refundable rate versus a refundable rate, adopting airline strategies and vacation rentals? We're starting to see that take off. And what does that look like? That's all been standard practice in the hotel market, right? So our relationships, not only in the short-term rentals, but what Kate works with, also clients on the hotels and resorts, we can bring all of that intel to our products, our clients, and really start to share that well. So it's very fun, getting that data, seeing where the industry is going, but also seeing how we can be leading the innovation train for our clients, not just in a product perspective, but also strategy perspective.
It makes me think back to, I referred to at the beginning, the interview that we did with your CEO, Ryan, in Orlando in October. And he was very clear that the winners in this industry are going to be the ones who develop the best relationships. And I think that kind of links to what you're saying. So when you talk about these updates or these new product launches, how do you go about communicating clearly with your customers and owners? Patrick?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that one. It's kind of a multi-pronged approach because everybody has, depending on where they're at seasonality, you look at your spring break destinations, they're not going to probably want a phone call from you for the next 4 weeks. And then you have people that are in mud season, they're coming out of ski season, they may have a little bit more availability. So where we have account managers, like Kate, and she's got a whole team of account managers, around here. We also have success managers directly from the Track perspective, from a software perspective. So it's very consultative and hands-on, is one of the approaches. And then we also combo that with, traditional just email marketing and content marketing, as well as, I think one of the things that we do pretty well is every one of our releases is documented directly in the application. So if we're launching a new feature, our clients know about it the exact day that it happens. It's not like others where they may wait for the end of the month and then they recap it. With the evolving times, time kills efficiency, time kills deals. And so we always want to make sure that we're on that leading front. So even if you aren't working with an account manager, a success manager, or revenue manager like Austin, you can still, you use the software every day. So it's right there with you. You can just sign in the morning and get those updates, right in the software. So multi-pronged approach to make sure that however they're comfortable communicating, we're going to suit that style the most effective that they want to be communicated with.
Is that something that the rest of the track team would compare with there? Do you want to come in?
That's a really great high level overview of what we do offer, and the hands-on part of it I think is pretty crucial, because there are a lot of set it and forget it, here's the product, have fun kids, but we want to be integrated with our partners as much as humanly possible, not only just for providing strategy and insight, but how could they use the software and how can they tailor the marketing to their benefits the best. And that's how we learn, and that's how we evolve, and how we get our feedback. There's so many different examples of how our strategies with marketing for our clients and partners tie in directly with some of the software items, like we already touched on with Austin, how well marketing and revenue management plays well together, but the software capabilities as well. So owning that customer relationship is huge. Tying in certain campaigns that show up in the software versus where we first capture them from a paid strategy, capturing their email database and just owning that relationship through the entire cycle is part of the strategy that we can coordinate with. So that's kind of the things that we touch on a monthly basis. I meet with everybody that clients and partners that I particularly work with out of a territory, every single month. And it's great to have that user insight from them. And I can be able to say, hey, Jason, this month, this is what I'm hearing over on the East Coast, or here's what I'm hearing here. Or, hey, somebody tried this. It might be actually really unique for you. Maybe give it a go. So it's been really, really a hands-on involvement, but it just helps us grow as a team. So
thank you, Kate. Let's go back to Jason as well. You've heard from the team, but what exactly are you looking for as a property manager when it comes to communication and updates when you've got a PMS or a channel manager?
Yeah, sure. I mean, with all these different software packages and options and information flow, it can sometimes be overwhelming. So, when I log into Track, for example, and I get into the software and I see a banner of a potential new product or something coming down the pipeline, of course, I'm asking about it immediately because I want to know and give it size it up and see if it's right for our business. I think that approach works really well, and that's kind of where my expectations have been set. Meeting with Kate on a monthly basis and going over digital marketing and what's going on in the the larger tourism world, and then also localizing that down to what we're doing. That's super helpful. Focuses my energy because I can get pulled in a variety of different ways. And if I'm not focused for that 1 hour every month on that meeting, then I feel like I'm behind. And my goal is to always continue to push our portfolio forward and make sure that we're looking at everything from both a macro and micro level, just to make sure we're on the cutting edge, so to speak, and we're continuing to do all the things that we need to do to put the most eyes on our properties. So, as far as communication from partners that we've got, I think that the way that it's set up right now between Track and the digital marketing aspect works really well for us. And more communication is often better. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, but we do we do appreciate the efforts that go into getting that information at our fingertips.
Absolutely. And talking of pushing portfolio forwards, and now I'll probably turn to Cheryl next. I know we've got some slides that we can bring up here, but Cheryl, in terms of how should property managers be using data and market trends really to kind of figure out how to grow their business portfolio?
We're super fortunate that we partner closely with key data dashboards, and they are part of our portfolio for our customers. We do keep an eye on trends and whatnot for people's areas. Kate is very closely aligned with their customers as far as what is happening from an industry standpoint, because key data does provide such rich and focused regional reports on everything from RevPAR to ADR to occupancy, booking windows, all those kind of things. We are seeing general trends staying the same currently from last quarter to this quarter.
Actually, sorry, just to interrupt there, Cheryl. Could we just for the team in the back end, can we get those slides up and can add some illustration there to what you're saying, Cheryl? Yes, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Great. So like I was saying, ADR is about the same as we saw from last quarter. Same with the booking window. It's not terribly different.
We've got that on another slide.
These are across, these are across the US. So just generally. And this gives you kind of a forward look as to what that looks like. But generally from last quarter to this quarter, slightly different or slightly less than a quarter from last year. We do know that inflation is still up quite a bit more than what we thought in the US. We are paying a little bit more for gas prices and goods sold. So that is probably a indicator of, less than happy for some of our customers. But I think Jason and we were talking earlier. Do you want to give an input as to how this quarter is shaping out for you guys?
Yeah, it's actually been a very interesting quarter because our January numbers were quite a bit down year over year, and February leveled off, and then March is projecting up, anywhere from 15 to 20%. And I'm sitting on ADR increases year over year of 10 to 12%. It's just been fascinating kind of watching the trends evolve, and a lot of that has to do with our localized market, obviously, and our January numbers really related to weather and overall tourism in the city. I mean, tourism in the city was down 30 or 40%. We didn't see those same declines, but I can see that from the we actually have access to the number of vehicles that cross into the city every single month. And so it's kind of interesting information to look at. And so we're cautiously optimistic about a positive 2024 and how things are shaping up into the spring and summer months.
And I think we've got just one last slide from the key data report as well, booking windows. Is that kind of roughly what you're seeing in terms of booking windows at the moment ahead of staying with you? So Jason, that's for you, Jason.
Sorry. Our booking windows are definitely a little shorter than that. However, maybe not too far off. Yeah.
Thank you, Jason and Cheryl. We will try and get these bits of data sent across, and I believe also it's on the Key Data website from their latest US vacation rental report. So thank you to Key Data. I guess we talk quite a lot about sustainable growth, and that's something that you're doing at Oyhut Bay, Jason. I'll turn back to Cheryl first, though. And Cheryl, how should property managers be prioritizing sustainable growth in 2024, do you believe?
We keep hearing about this billboard effect. This is exactly what the webinar is about, is like getting your name out there. We do know that direct bookings will make our owners more money, but owners in and of themselves like to see themselves on these channels. Airbnb and Vrbo. We were also just listed as an elite partner with Vrbo. So a lot of these channels are ways for you to get your eyeballs out there, get more people to see who you are and where you're booking. And we have all kinds of ideas around, are you putting your name in your headline? Like, are you offering a beach window or a beach view condo by Oyhut Bay? Those kind of things are strategies, are ways to capture your audience to make sure that they are seeing your name front and center. We know that there are ideas around changing your cancellation policies. We have a recent customer that we just did a case study with that saw everything from changing a 14-day restrictive policy, like Patrick was saying, like hotels do, to a more flexible policy. We saw anywhere from 6 to 88% increase in occupancy and revenue over the previous quarter. So just little changes like that can really have a big effect on how you are strategizing for your property to be seen. And you have to do everything you can. I think Jason made the comment earlier around almost fighting for every reservation at this point, and little strategies like that will help you do that.
Is there like a secret sauce, do you think, to this? Is it about sort of creating a sense of community, or just something for people to aspire to grow as well?
I'll take the growth. I work with a lot of customers, and everybody wants to grow. And there's one constraining factor, which is the traveler, and then obviously how much inventory you can acquire. And one of the interesting things that you can look at is your reputation in the marketplace is also important. And one thing that you have to look at is your bottom end of your inventory. A lot of times, so many people look at acquiring as many doors as possible. And when you look at the profitability of your company, sometimes those units that are a little bit more, let's just say, run down or have some guest issues, look at possibly first consult with the owner, see if there's the opportunity to improve those units. But also, don't be afraid to run an analysis on it. If the unit's not profitable, you're constantly out there with maintenance, you're constantly out there, with phone calls saying, why can't I get my 2021 COVID rates, and they haven't, changed the bed out since, and there's a broken screen door that they don't want to repair. And don't be afraid to fire an owner. I know that's very scary to say, but profitability is still the name of you as a property manager, right? Like, none of us are charitable donations, or there's very few of them out there. And so you still have to look at your bottom line. And so growth can be tempered with looking at your inventory and looking at profitability, right? And so it's not all about the number of doors that you can acquire. It is about the number of travelers, right? Because owners view your success as not only how much money is in their bank account, but ultimately how many nights you're filling. And so in context of the billboard, right, you can add channels, right? And I, as product, I work with Shelly, our our partnership manager, and she's always bringing me new avenues of advertisement, people that are looking to create niche sites. We were just talking about an OTA specializing in pet friendly this morning, and how do we market better to those travelers. But one thing that we saw, especially with the major 2/3, with Booking.com, Vrbo, and Airbnb in the STR space, is we don't get quote data anymore. But one of the biggest things that I work with customers on is, how do you get the most eyeballs on your listing? If you're a predominantly 7-night market, right, a Saturday to Saturday market like the Outer Banks, or in the summer that's there, travelers that aren't used to those marketplaces, the people that you're trying to acquire, how do you offer 6 nights for the price of 7, right? Because with the way that OTAs work is, if you aren't in that search result of the days that they search, you don't get those eyes, right? It's just like your billboard isn't on the side of the road with your logo and your property, right? And so one thing that I've seen is a lot of pricing strategies that we take what Austin does in revenue management, but then we say, how do we get more eyeballs on those listings? If somebody is willing to pay the same price for 7 nights, but only stay 5 of those, let's open those searches up, right? And so you can use derivative rate strategies, multi-night rate strategies to get to that point, and then open up those eyeballs. So it's not always about getting on more channels. Your long tail channels, you have to look at again, how many bookings are they driving? What effort am I having to put to get onto those? Am I having to manage those guests differently or uniquely, manage reservations differently or uniquely for them? Can you get those same travelers just by opening up more eyeballs on the channels that you're on today, right? So we're always looking at diversifying and getting, that right sweet spot of what is the right inventory, what is the right profitability metric, but then how do we increase those nights of occupancy for all of your owners? And so those are some of the things that we're always working with, both from a consultative perspective, but also product, how do we make that easy for our customers and our clients as well?
Thank you. And Patrick, I'm hoping you're maybe the most qualified to answer this next question, but you talk about it's not always all about all of the channels that you need to be on. But one of the buzzwords, of course, that we're seeing at the moment is AI. It seems to be in every conversation at the moment. So, we talk about this within listing descriptions as well. How can you use AI to really increase bookings, but not hurt more of your organic SEO at the same time?
Yeah, it's definitely a fine balance. There's a lot of people that use ChatGPT. It's free. You write your organic description and then you can throw it in there and say, make it for a older persona or a younger persona, and it'll kind of use different buzzwords throughout there. Obviously, SEO duplicate content kills it. The SEO strategies are always changing, but you never want duplicate content. I think the thing that I see property managers that excel, they'll write their organic description and then they'll write one that goes for OTAs, right? But they'll use the same one. As far as the people that have a little bit more marketing horsepower, they have more heads that can write more content or even use ChatGPT or a different AI-based solution to write different descriptions, they will. In the track e-commerce world, what I spend a lot of time is, where do eyeballs land on your listing? I've been working with one of our partners. They do a lot of analytics on their website to understand who's clicking where. Descriptions nowadays on especially like direct websites where we get it aren't even being viewed. They're purely a horsepower of getting the person to the page, but then all they care about is the photo player and the quote, right? Like, we aren't even getting people scrolling down the fold anymore. So the key parts of an organic website is, how do I make it easy to book, and how can I see the most photography in a single snapshot? Because that's going to get that click to conversion. People aren't seeing like, where is that bedroom located in the home? They can see that in the photos. And so that is where, even on your own website, using different, there's several coming into the short-term rental space that can help you qualify your images in a different order based upon what the traveler may be searching as far as an amenity-based search. If they have pool as an amenity that they're looking for, don't put a bathroom photo as one of your first photos. Put all of the nice photos of the views or of the pool and make them smart-based searches. And so that is where AI we're starting to see is on content. Yes, rewrite it format for the demographic of traveler, but also, how do we show different photos based upon searches? And that's more ML than AI, to be honest. I think we all use those different buzzwords of like, AI is the big bucket, but machine learning does a lot of that logic as well for a lot of our clients.
And I would
Thank you.
piggyback on that, Patrick. One thing we haven't talked about yet is reviews. And one of our recommendations is to definitely respond to every single review, positive or negative. And it can get redundant saying, thank you for saying, thank you for saying, how can we use ChatGPT, for instance, to have some different responses so that it is, you doing less work and less typing for every single review? That is an area that we are recommending using AI to, enhance your responses back.
And
Yes,
again,
positive and negative.
all about that
Yes.
relationship. Just one quick thing. We've got about 15 minutes, so I want to remind everyone, if you've got any questions for our panelists today, please do pop them in the chat, and we'll make time before the end to get round to them. Kate, you've been patiently sitting there for a little bit of time now. We've touched a little bit about some of the marketing strategies that you're you're employing at Track at the moment. So I'd like to get your thoughts on how does Track think about utilizing OTAs versus direct booking strategies?
Yeah, and it kind of piggybacks on everybody who's mentioned a little bit about the OTAs. Obviously, what I promote for the most part is direct bookings. It's not to say that I don't believe OTAs have a place in the world in your strategy, which they do. Using them wisely and appropriately is the key. You know, blanketing all of your inventory on OTAs just because they're booking themselves is not necessarily a strategy. I would highly recommend knowing your market, knowing your trends. And again, this could piggyback on my relationship with a revenue manager, you know, of I want to try and promote your property just so that you can create a lower customer acquisition cost, but then also create a brand loyalty so that they know who they're staying with. They know the owners. They don't see the third party, you know, funnel all the way down. You are strategically using the OTAs for your benefit. Leverage them, use those channels, the ease of access of the distribution engine to all of those channels, but use them when you need them. That's the primary goal too. And I know Austin probably talks about this a lot too. You know, if you're having hard to book periods, use their infinite marketing dollars to put your inventory out there. I even suggest to some of my smaller inn properties or resort properties, throw a room on there that's not booking as well. Throw one on one of those channels and see if it works. You know, get some additional eyeballs to your property, to your location, because it's not just solely tailored to the VR sector. I think that throwing on a unique bed and breakfast room could be something that people don't necessarily think about right away. So again, leveraging it to tailor to your strategy, but make it a strategy that's not one or the other. Have a nice mix of everything.
And Austin, did you want to come in there perhaps on sort of the competitive pricing element?
Yeah, no, I think Kate nailed it when talking about leveraging those OTAs appropriately. I think that's the key word as she used. I think making sure that you're, you know, the term not throwing all your eggs in one basket, you know, throwing all your inventory on that site and just leaving it there and letting it do its thing because, hey, Airbnb is very well known. That's the way that we kind of translate it to our customers is, hey, you know, direct bookings is obviously what we want, but we have to use these OTAs as well to help our strategy. And you know, Kate mentioned as well, knowing your market. I think it's important to know in your market which OTA performs better. Do you really want to take the time to put your property on Airbnb if Vrbo has the bigger market share within your respective market? I mean, we see that all the time. You know, here where I'm located, Vrbo is a little bit bigger, but you go down to Savannah, Georgia, and a client that we price, Airbnb is the predominant channel down there. So knowing your market, knowing which channel is the smartest one to be on, and at the same time too, we highly recommend to customers, you know, if you want to have your properties on these channels, you know, we can increase a little bit to offset maybe some of the commission splits that you have to split with them, you know, putting struggling properties on there, you know, getting maybe even new properties is what we kind of encourage as well. Something to help get that property off the ground and running. That way you're not just sitting there waiting for reviews, waiting for particular dates to book up. You know, we leverage those OTAs in our pricing strategy every day. You know, we're constantly comp shopping, and Patrick kind of nailed it, you know, in the topic beforehand about, you know, the availability, the fact that you need to make sure that your property kind of shows up in those search results. That's something that's huge as well, because it does you no good if you have these very strict min stay requirements and you're not showing up on any search result. So that's something to kind of factor in as well. Dynamic or revenue management is not just your pricing strategy, it's your min stay strategy. It's knowing who to market to, and like I said, a lot of people think revenue management is just price, but it's so much more than that.
And to piggyback also on what Patrick said, that kind of relates when it comes to not only how your listings are looking, but it's also your website. If you are trying to focus your attention towards certain units that need to be booking because of their certain amenities, Well, make that the forefront, make the image with the pool the forefront, make the website itself easily accessed, mobile friendly, mobile responsive. A lot of times I work with folks that have a little bit of a rabbit hole where they want to just get all that data on their website, just overload it with too much stuff, too much word here, there, all the bells and whistles. It's not necessary. You got to think of your actual behavior as a potential guest and how you would prefer to shop. And, you know, just knowing that your guests are not going to click through 6 pages to find what they're looking for. It's just not going to happen. So it's really important to kind of keep a realistic vibe about it, making sure that, you know, I talk with clients about paid strategies. If you're going to try and drive amenity-based searches to your own website, well, you better have a landing page that mentions all of those amenities and it's talking about the things that you want to advertise, because otherwise the algorithm on Google is not gonna rank you whatsoever. So the listing strategy and the direct strategy have a lot of commonalities between the two of them. So I wanted to touch on that Patrick made a really good point on.
Yeah, thank you, Austin and Kate, for those points as well. And we've got a couple of minutes left. If there's any sort of tips or advice we can pass on to these property managers tuning in today or tuning in on the on-demand recording, Patrick, I'll start with you. What would be your main advice for property managers to really thrive and up their game in the space?
My tip would be, I'm going to say 2, so I'm going to cheat right away. First of all, is don't be afraid to try new things. You know, I know a lot of markets, they may have they're a long-standing market and they have a lot of return traffic. Well, unfortunately, people kind of age out of traveling. And if you're not trying new avenues and trying new things, you're eventually going to kind of age yourself out, or there's going to be a cutting edge property manager that is willing to try new things, and they're just going to take those owners from you. And then the second thing is, if you're not changing things, you're probably not going to be highly successful, right? If you just have a strategy of I take photos and I leave them, I write content and I leave them, you're probably going to get bypassed by other people. You're going to get, you're not going to get the same eyeballs on OTAs and organic traffic, et cetera. So you need to be constantly visiting, reshooting properties for photography, et cetera. Otherwise, other people will, and they're going to bypass you. So those are my 2 kind of tips to keep your eyes out on.
Thank you, Patrick. Cheryl, same question there.
Yeah, for sure. Photography, you can't skimp on it. We recommend 25 high quality photos, no matter what. That's the very first thing people see. I would say, secondly, make sure your amenities are up to date. You know, amenities are called different things on different channels. So make sure that you have those plugged in correctly and have the data around them, like, you know, jacuzzi, hot tub, whirlpool, all those things are different depending on what channel you're on. Even the little things like private entrance, make sure you have that checked off on your amenity list when you are going through each channel to make sure that those are set correctly and that those are things that they're looking for. You know, are the amenities in your area the ones that your travelers are looking for?
Austin, same question as I work myself up.
Yeah, no, my tip would just to be, you know, kind of what my whole spiel has been anyway, is just your revenue management strategy. Just review it. My biggest takeaway for a property manager is making sure that your team understands what your strategy is, making sure that, you know, we talked about setting it and forgetting it, making sure that's not your strategy. But even if you are using a dynamic pricing tool, a dynamic pricing strategy, reviewing that, making sure that your prices are appropriate, making sure the algorithm is catching the dates that are, you know, events are coming up, making sure that busy time is being increased appropriately. But as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, your revenue management strategy is not just your pricing. Make sure your marketing team and your revenue management team are correlated with each other. Make sure your minimum stay strategy is just as fine-tuned as your pricing strategy, because ultimately that's going to be what shows up on the OTAs on your direct website as far as availability on search dates. So making sure that you and your team just have a good understanding of what that strategy is.
Thank you, Austin. Kate?
Mine is literally cutting down on your customer acquisition costs. If you're not doing a direct booking strategy, a direct marketing strategy, I think you're missing out on a cheaper way to acquire that customer, but then also create a loyal booking customer because they have that direct relationship with you as the property manager. Whereas going through third party, there's that impersonal aspect of it at times. But overall, touching on what everybody has said too, making sure that you understand your strategy, you understand your market. All of those can play into your overall direct marketing strategy. And again, incorporate it as much as you can. And if you don't have someone in-house to do that, definitely partner with a marketing firm that would be able to better implement those ideas and strategies for you on your behalf. Because we know that all property managers are wearing multiple hats. So it's kind of hard to just throw another one on. So
talking of property managers, Jason, I'll grant you the last word. What would you recommend to other property managers in a similar boat to you?
Yeah, communicate. Make sure to have constant communication with your owners. We leverage OTAs for kind of that first date opportunity with the guest and wine and dine them when they're here on property, and then turn them into a repeat traveler, but a direct booking in the future. And so every time we have somebody book through an OTA, it's a success because they're going to be part of our pool in the future. So just making sure that they're aware of who we are as a property manager and as a community, and and giving them a reason to come back and stay with us in the future. So whether that be through a discount or incentive of any kind, we're pretty heavy on that front.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. And wow, that hour has absolutely flown by. I'm sure there's lots more we could have talked about, but it's hopefully the audience would concur so many actionable insights and takeaways to bring away from them. So big thank you to all of our contributors today, to Patrick, to Kate, to Austin, Cheryl, and to Jason. We've got just a couple of quick slides to run through before we finish up for the day. Got the slide up. So we're back on Tuesday, the 26th of March for our next webinar. It's one of our regular pitch to pool, Dragon's Den, Shark Tank style sessions, one of my favorite ones to do every year. So we have 3 startups in the travel short-term rental space pitching for potential investment. You can see them on screen there, and the sign up link is in the chat now, so always a good bit of fun there. As mentioned before, the entries deadline for the 2024 Shorties Awards is tomorrow, Wednesday the 13th of March, 23:59 GMT. If you haven't got your entries in, then what are you waiting for? It's no cost to enter as many of the 20 categories as you wish and are relevant for. It's always a really, really good night of celebration, and we look forward to seeing you our in-person award ceremony in London on Tuesday, the 23rd of April. Big thank you to our sponsors and supporting partners, some of whom you can see on screen now. For opportunities to work with us, please do contact my colleague Jordan, whose details are on the screen now. Now is a fantastic time to be working with us, as hopefully Track will attest to, as well as we gear up for the Shorties and lots of other events throughout the year. So why not get involved both with the entries and as an award sponsor too. We're going to keep this session open for just another 2 minutes, where if you want to jot down any of the details from the chat, the links and contact details there. Big thank you again to Track and all of our excellent speakers today. And of course, thank you all to all of you for tuning in today. We'll see you all again very soon. Thank you very much, everyone.
Hello, we are International Hospitality Media, or IHM for short. IHM is the #1 brand to engage with decision makers in hospitality and real estate. Our 4 multimedia brands lead their respective sectors with breaking news, comments, trends, and opinion across a variety of multimedia solutions. We provide an inspirational community to connect people through world-class events, webinars, podcasts, award schemes, and much more. But let us share our story of who we are and what we do. Over 10 years ago, Piers & George had a light bulb moment to provide expert opinion, comments, and low-cost digital content. And so they went on a journey over the past decade, creating media platforms to serve the hospitality and real estate industries. We now have an engaged audience with a reach of over 60,000 monthly visitors across our website, 48,000 of our email database across all the sectors, and over 67,000 across our social channels. Everything we do believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. We make things simple and very easy to work with us. And we're a friendly bunch too. We offer creative solutions to help you achieve your business goals. Read, watch, listen, meet with IHM. Contact us for a chat today. Just look at some of the brands we have worked with recently.